of you remember when I...
Yes.
Y'all, I love how everyone is elevated as well. So, we're all coming up. And thank you all for being here.
Thank you for having us.
No, thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, we're starting?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Well, this is Sister Talk. We're good. Are we ready? Oh, hey everybody. Y'all, this is Sisterhood Show. I was talking to my sisters, so I did not at first see. Thank you so much. I got to shout out the Sphere Podcast Network. This is your girl, Dawn Paul, a.k.a. the Dr. Dawn, your certified life coach. And my prescription is my words, as I always say. And the prescription today is helping your sister. Today we're talking about, are you helping or are you hurting your sister? Right?
Yes.
It is Black History Month. It is Promoting Healthy Relationships Month. So I'm telling you, y'all, and Facebook Live, I'm going to be talking to you too, so put your comments up. We want to hear from you. But I had to bring on my sisters, right? Because we got to talk about it. It's Black History Month. It's Promoting Healthy Relationships Month. Black women, we need to be supporting each other more.
Right.
And I think we're getting better. Social media is showing unity. But still some things I'm seeing behind the scenes, and we're going to address it, right? So let me introduce my guest. I'm going to start at the end with the leopard shoes. I love it. Right? I'm telling you.
We need Wendy Williams shoe cam.
Okay. I like that.
That's a good idea.
Shoe cam.
Oh,
I love it.
judgment cam.
Okay.
No judgment.
I'm telling you, that's why totally Randy always be we here. We here. But I'm telling you, I got to introduce these sisters, and I can call them sisters because we're going to talk about the definition of a sister versus just a woman.
Right.
That's another too. But the girlfriend's therapist Nettie Jones. Love it, love it, love it. Love it. She is the girlfriend's therapist, speaker, nationally syndicated radio host. She's absolutely awesome. She is going to be, and this is therapist Ebony. I might as well invite her because therapist, let's just put them together. Therapist Ebony Harris.
Yes.
She is a relationship therapist, y'all. So I think one of the most important relationships is how we treat each other as sisters. So she's going to weigh in on that as well. Then we have Totally Randy.
Hi, guys.
She is a blogger, a speaker, a senior reporter with a major publication here with Houston Style Magazine. And she is the curator, she's the creator of It's National Day, which is a viral platform.
Thank you.
I think it's global and it's awesome.
Yes, National Days.
And her husband, Demez White, was the guy who was on the show before. Thank you for the hearts already. Hey, Nettie Jones is awesome.
That's right.
Hey, thank you, Stephanie Palmer. We love it. I'm telling you. But we have Sharon Melton. Don't call her Sharon and don't call her...
That's right.
Sharon, baby. Sharon Melton, CW39, global platform. You all have seen me on there before. I had to bring Sharon on here. She's had me...
Hey,
Right. I had to bring Sharon on because we had some sister conversations.
We most certainly did.
Behind the mic.
Oh,
Y'all
yes, we
didn't...
did.
Yeah.
It was necessary.
Yeah.
We have to.
We have to, but she is a sister. Don't think every sister you meet on media. No, we're some good sisters. So she's a sister, and she said, "Fix, you got makeup. She said you got lipstick on your teeth," and that's how I knew I was dealing, right? Because she said you got. I said, "Oh, this is a sister."
That's right. That's right.
Okay. And last but not least, the woman in green, Money Honey.
Money
Honey. Yes. Get them coins, Charlie Markov. She is we love her totally, Randy. Thank you, Demetrius. God bless you. God bless
Thank you, Dee.
But Charlie is a counselor. She is a speaker, an author. She is a media personality as well, and all these women have their own media platforms. So, y'all, I'm glad. Thank you, guys. Put out your questions. We're about to get it. Thank you, y'all. Honey, look at us on camera. I'm telling you, we just having action. We ain't even got started.
And we look good.
Okay, we do look good. But we are talking about, are you helping or are you hurting your sister? And I want to start with you, Dr. Nettie, because, and I really want all of you to weigh in. Have you been betrayed by, and we're talking about black women, because we need to get it together, so I'm just going to talk about it, and those of y'all who are a little upset, we got to be real about it.
Yes.
Right.
We have to watch how we treat each other. So therapist Nettie, let's start with you. Have you ever been betrayed by another black woman?
You know, I'll be honest. I don't necessarily know that I've been betrayed.
Okay.
However, I do know that there have been situations or circumstances where maybe a friend or someone I thought was my friend has not been upfront, forthcoming, and it's very disappointing.
Yes.
But, you know, at this point in my life, it is difficult for you to really kind of betray me.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, because it's really about you, and I'm sure we'll talk about those kind of things. And so betrayal is such a negative word.
What should we use?
No.
Yeah.
People betray.
Oh, yeah. We can't pretty it up. Yeah.
Let you down.
Yeah, let you down. Yeah.
It is accurate, but I feel very blessed that I've not really had that.
Yeah.
But I've had people to disappoint me.
Yes.
You know, like I said, people that you thought were your friend, maybe not, you know, whatever. But that's really more about them as opposed to it being about me.
That's good.
Yeah.
Totally, Randy, yes or no? And let's go down the line.
I would say yes, but I wanted to specifically talk about when it came to me coming up in like the media field.
Yeah.
And I was new and I was very unorthodox. People didn't know that at the time I was going through my first heartbreak. It was really green. And I had talent and I was like, I want to show everybody. I want to help everybody. And it's a young lady that actually promotes women empowerment.
Amen.
That just like literally clipped me at the knees. And I was just like,
Wow.
Yeah.
What did I do?
It happens. Yeah. It's happened to me. Sharon?
Oof.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
It has happened to me. Someone did that to me in order to make themselves look better in the industry in front of the higher ups at the time in another location. And it was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you have people who, and I'm going to just be blunt with it, envy what you're doing.
Yeah.
And they think that they may be able to do it better. So they put up obstacles, unfortunately, instead of building each other up where we both can be lifted up.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes they put either obstacles or brick walls in front of individuals they feel are in their way in order to make themselves look bigger and better. And I had to take a step back and remove myself from that situation in order to protect myself.
Yeah.
And I feel that I'm a stronger and better person because of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I found forgiveness in my heart. I
Yeah.
had to, because there's no way I'm going to allow something or someone to sit on my chest or my shoulders and push me down, because that's going to be detrimental to me in the long run.
Right.
Yes.
And I had to let go of any anger or being upset and forgive that person
Yes.
in order to move forward. And I did, and I'm in an amazing place with some wonderful people
Yes.
and a lot of other sisters around me too, who are just, we lift each other up.
Yes.
Yes.
And I kind of every now and then, now that you bring it up, think of that individual and hope and pray that she is okay.
Yeah.
Because overall, in the long run, it's going to be what happens to her is on her.
Yes.
Right now.
Oh,
And that's it.
I'm loving it.
So.
Latrinda, thank you, Latrinda, my our soror.
Our
Yeah.
Yeah, our soror. Yeah, she's dead on green, but she is a Delta. That's okay, honey. That's okay. Latrinda, she says, good stuff, Sharon. Jennifer says, amazing cast. Love all these women. Thank you, Jennifer.
ladies.
Yeah.
And Jennifer, she deals with love and relationships. She's a matchmaker, very good sister. But the rest of you, therapist Ebony, Charlie, maybe you have
Well,
been.
being a member of a sorority,
Yeah.
of course, you know, you will experience
Yeah.
those betrayal moments. And like she just said, you learn to pray for people.
Yes.
And one thing, I call myself a Christian.
Yeah.
And so I don't try to take vengeance on them.
Yeah.
Because I am, you know, I remember what the Bible said, vengeance is mine.
Yes.
And so,
Yes.
and usually karma comes back.
Yeah.
And it comes forth twofold.
Yeah.
And they will experience that same hurt that they put on you.
Yes.
But it seems like it cuts just a little bit deeper.
Oh, it does.
And I'm like, okay, I don't wish anyone well.
That's right.
But keep throwing salt on my name because all you're doing is seasoning.
That's right.
Come on.
You know, Don, I keep it real.
Yeah. And that's why I brought you here. Yeah.
I love that. Like when every time you put salt on someone's name, all you're doing is literally season it for the next person.
Come on.
Yes,
Come
you
on.
are.
You're just lifting them up.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
just bringing them up to the platform.
Yeah.
So keep throwing. That means I'm important.
Yeah.
So,
Come on, Laura.
I love it.
Yeah. Therapist Ebony, you.
I think it's interesting because I kind of agree with Dr. Nettie where I never thought of it as betrayal, and I wondered is that a therapist thing where you kind of like accept people as they are, and it's kind of like, well, this is who they are, so I won't take it personally. Is what I've learned to do.
Yeah.
So I've definitely had situations where I've been let down, where I've had certain expectations of people, and they could not meet those.
Yeah.
But I just have been fortunate enough not to have to take it personally.
Yeah.
Like I know that that's not me, that's you.
Yeah.
And I'm able to let it go a lot quicker.
Yeah.
But when I don't take it on, it's like my issue.
Yeah.
So.
When I was in a place, and I'm going to share with you Facebook Live. When I didn't know who I was or whose I was, I exhibited toxic behavior toward another sister. But I didn't know who I was and whose I was. This was years ago. And it doesn't matter what, and you learn lessons. And now I think, thank God I'm not that sister. I'm that person. Because how dare I be on this platform with that kind of, but it was because I was dealing with insecurities. I didn't like who I was. I was, but I can admit, So when I see that sister, I'm like, you hurting, because I was there. Right. But when you're in a place you're healed, you like, you know what? Yeah. But let's talk about the root cause. And this is what we're going to talk about, because it's too many bandages over this conversation. And I'm going to start with you, therapist Nettie. Y'all look alike. But because we always hear, oh, well, she's just jealous. No, let's get to the root cause. What is the root cause of another? Let's specifically talk about black women. When a woman betrays another black woman, what is she really dealing with? Because we're all sisters. We all have the same color skin, complexion. You would think we would come to what is it?
That is a loaded question.
It is,
with many layers.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's just a black woman thing.
Yeah.
I think that women are unfortunately that way from time to time. Not all women.
Yeah.
But I think you made a couple of comments. You said insecurities, fear, not loving themselves.
Yes.
And that's what I find, we say we love ourselves, but what we do and how we treat ourselves.
Yes.
So what I share with women all the time, 95% of my practice is women.
Yeah.
But it's your relationship with yourself.
Yes.
Do you love you? And
Yes.
so when I'm good with me, I've resolved some stuff with me. I understand the good, the bad, the ugly, the insecure, the fears, the fantasies, all of that stuff. Then I operate a whole lot better. So now I'm not the wounded woman that's walking around wounding other people. And that's why when, Ebony was saying, we're kind of on the same page here, I don't personalize somebody else's actions. So I can't carry your shame. It's yours. You take it. I can't put your bricks in my wheelbarrow. I got my own. And so when we love ourselves and we're healthy and whole, but we have to recognize that. Now, I will say this about black women. We've got to get better with self-care.
Yes.
Because we take care of our kids, our spouses, Big Mama, Lil Bubba, Leroy, everybody. But we don't take care of ourselves.
We don't even speak to ourselves.
No.
Like, how do you talk to yourself? What type of things do you say to yourself? We speak 50,000. This is, statistically speaking, 50,000 plus negative words are spoken to ourselves every single day. You need to think about how you talk to yourself. And one key thing that I picked up from what you said, Dawn, it's your honesty with yourself.
Oh, yes.
You sat down, you had that come to Jesus meeting with yourself, and you told yourself, I am this, and I am that, and I have to fix that. And I think as black women, we don't like to tell ourselves the truth. We can't even tell our families the truth.
Yes.
Like, so we have so many bad family members, and we coddle it and oh, that's just how he is. No, tell him the truth. Tell yourself the truth about how you feel about other women, especially your sisters, how you feel about other black women, because we're already facing a lot.
And I think we have to understand that. Because the word now, and I want to start with you, therapist Ebony, and work our way down, women empowerment. Women empowerment brunch. Women empowerment dinner. Women empowerment lunch. Is it trending, or are we staying true to it?
I think it's definitely a trend. Not to say that it doesn't have good intentions, right? The goal is to empower. The goal is to connect and all of those things. But a lot of times it just feels like people use that as the catchphrase, as a way to bring people in.
It's a buzzword.
Exactly. And I think sometimes we don't recognize. I can't remember. I think you brought up family, and I think sometimes we don't recognize how much of the things that we do are based on the things we've learned from our families.
You just hit it on the nail.
It's
a lot based from childhood.
Right.
Working in an school district setting, I can see the toxicity at an early age. And I say, the reason why you're arguing with each other is because that's what you see your mom do. They are not taught conflict resolution. They're not taught how to have real friends. They don't even see real positive women friendship and interaction.
Right.
They are scared of that because they don't know what that looks like. And so I said, did you see me cuss somebody out down the way or down the hall? They'll say no. And I said, that's not normal.
Yeah.
And because, and the thing, everything is the new normal.
Yeah.
That they don't even recognize when it's abnormal.
Right.
That is not normal to treat anybody that way.
Miriam, thank you for your comment, Miriam. She says it is definitely a trend.
Yes,
it is.
It's very sad. Monique White says it is a trend.
Right.
But we've got to change that. And hopefully, and I tell you, that's why God always leads me who to bring on. Many of you, well, Sharon and Nettie, I've recently met you, but my God, the Spirit was there.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Seriously.
Yes.
So this is genuine here. But we have to, I believe it's like a domino effect. We just have to keep moving, and you hit it on the head, Therapist Nettie. That's not ours to carry. We pray for you, and we have to move on.
Yes.
But let's talk about family. Sharon, I want to start with you. When we have our little daughter, this is my, light-skinned, dark-skinned, we call each other these names, little yellow gal, my little chocolate dark baby, I mean, all these things, you don't understand how it can affect the psyche of a little black girl.
Yeah.
And she grows up having issues with light-skinned women because she was called the little dark one, and she's the darkest one maybe out of all the siblings. We have to be responsible. Let me read this comment first. You have to be true to yourself. First, most people can't. That's
Right.
true. Yeah. Therapist Ebony, let's talk about family, and then I want to talk about, Monique, we're going to touch on your comment. Yeah.
It's definitely, I think we attempt to build people up in a certain way, and we don't recognize how, even when we're trying to be positive, some of those unsaid words or those unsaid messages are still being given to someone.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with someone, and they were talking about kind of complimenting their children on their weight. And oh, you have a great shape and you're a nice size, and it's like, that's great, but then if they ever have any issues with their weight, even though you're trying to build them up and make them positive about it, those unsaid messages are still there as well.
Yeah.
So there's no perfect way to do it, and I don't want any parents to beat themselves up on it, but you just have to be mindful that, even if you feel like, well, I'm giving them compliments, or I'm telling her she's gorgeous because of her skin, or she's gorgeous because of this and this and that it also can have that reverse effect. So just do the best you can. I don't want to shame anybody about it.
Yeah.
But definitely when you isolate or make them feel different because of whether that's skin tone, hair texture, whatever, it does impact how they look and view other people.
I think sometimes they also overcompensate.
Yes.
Whatever they went through as kids, they're like, oh, well, I need to make sure I do this so my
Exactly.
child doesn't go through what I do.
Yeah.
And then they do it, and the kid's like, well, what am I supposed to do now?
Exactly.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
take that into their friendship network, and
Yes.
no one knows how to communicate anymore.
Yeah.
Because either you have all these buzzwords or certain words that you can say, you can't say, and it's just it's confusing.
Yeah.
So what do you do then?
Yeah.
I mean, it just causes more problems in the long run.
Do you all think sometimes it has to do with, and then we'll talk about Monique, don't go anywhere, we're going to get on your comment, and it has to do with how black men and maybe how they portray us, how maybe what we see on social media, the images, because some women, they feel less than because he left me and he's with a light-skinned woman. We have all these issues with skin complexion. Mm-hmm. Do you think sometimes how are black men?
You know what?
Do you think, or what do you think? I mean, be honest.
But see, that's one of those things. I mean, historically,
Yeah.
we go all the way back to this. You know? And ideally, being of lighter skin affords you opportunities. That's where it
Right.
started, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, and so this whole notion of fair, the better.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if we're here.
Yeah.
You go to Mexico, the darker Mexican is looked upon negatively. You go to Spain, the darker Spaniard.
Yeah.
I mean, so
Asian
Asian
countries,
countries.
Yeah.
So the
That's true.
darker skin has never been received as considered beauty.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say I don't
Go ahead.
think we should put that on the men.
No, but
And
I'm
I
saying,
know-
but I'm saying
That's
some
what-
of us.
No, I know.
Some of us will take it and we'll be like, oh, well,
yes, and that's what and that's what I was stating earlier is how you speak to yourself. Because let's think about it in all honesty. You're online looking at men that you're probably not going to give the time of day. You don't meet them when you go to the grocery store. 9 times out of 10, they're celebrities. They're still cheating on what they thought was better than you. And yet you're saying to yourself, I'm not worth being cheated on. You're thinking about that. They're cheating on these women that supposedly look better than you. And you're thinking, I'm not worth being cheated on. You can't put that on the men. It's all how we speak to ourselves. And I remember being in Greece real fast. they love the darker skin.
They do.
I remember that when you
And
told
I told you, I said exceptional service everywhere I went. It's all about how you speak to yourself. If you speak that into your soul, because my sister is extremely light skinned, and growing up with a very diverse family, my mother being a very chocolate woman has never spoke that into her daughters. It is your responsibility to pass on the good or step back from the bad chains in our family.
Let's touch on Monique's question. I want to start with you, Charlie. You have to be true to yourself. Most people can't. Isn't it hard, y'all, to look in the mirror?
I don't know why it's hard, because the only competition is that woman that's in the mirror.
There you go.
And so if you can't speak truth to yourself and you won't acknowledge it, you can't change it.
Right.
You cannot change what you will not acknowledge. And so if you stand in the mirror and you say lies to yourself, whatever that lie may be, you are continuing the cycle. And if you cannot break the cycle, then you are stuck. And nothing will ever come to you. Because people, the older I get that discernment, I can just tell.
Yes.
I
love you, my sister. But
I love you from afar. I want you to eat, but just not at this table. And so if that is the case, because I want people to operate in their honesty, because I operate in mine.
So, I mean, it's almost like operating in your own acceptance. I'm thinking based on what you're saying, because that's what it sounds like. I hear this thing in my head as my mom reminded me, because I'm an only child, and so maybe some of us don't go through some of the things because we don't have the competition with siblings, or other relatives or whatever. But I always had in the back of my mind what my parents always would remind me of: you look in the mirror and how important you are. You remember your importance.
Yes.
And everyone else. I mean, that's either noise in the background, or as my mom would say, that's a non-entity.
Right.
That's how she would refer to it. If somebody's coming up to you and trying to make you seem less than you are, then okay, be kind to them, walk away, because that person is not going to be a part of your wheelhouse, a part of your universe. They're a non-entity. Be kind and just keep on moving on.
I think it's important to identify, though, that, I mean, that's great to be positive and this is who I am and speak positivity, but also we have to acknowledge how many influences we have.
That's true.
That create those negative messages.
Yes.
That's true. And so when you can start with, okay, what are my beliefs? What are my messages that I believe about myself? And then where did they come from? Then that's the first step in fighting them.
That's a good point.
I think all of you touched on it. Monique says speak. Thank you, Monique. But this is a topic I wanted to touch on. Let's take a break. We're going to take a 20-second break. And we're going to come back and talk about how maybe we can misjudge each other based on a negative experience with another sister.
Oh, gotcha.
Don't think, oh, Sharon's going to be like that other. No. Don't think therapist Nettie. You gotta, we're gonna talk about that. I've been misjudged. I've misjudged others. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. It's no judgment, just realness. We will be right back. We're gonna take a 20-second break. Don't go nowhere. Oh yeah, look at that. Another comment. Your inner voice is, I love. Okay, we are back. I'm telling you, thank you to Obsessed with Media, our sponsors. That's my company, y'all. Come on, y'all. Yeah, hit me up. I am, like TD Jake said, there's not a period behind my name but a comma.
That's right. That is right.
Who better to promote than yourself? I'm going to read some of these comments. Miriam, thank you for your comments. And let's start with you, Therapist Nettie. Your inner voice is normal, that voice of your parents and what they spoke to you. Mm-hmm. You talked about that. Mm-hmm. And then also, it's a journey that people must go through in order to change their voice, Therapist Nettie. So true.
Yeah, absolutely.
So true.
You know what? The voice that I tell clients all the time, they come in, they share how they feel.
Yeah.
Right? And so I understand that, but I want to know what you're thinking.
Yes.
Right? I want to know what your thoughts are.
That's
because
good.
your thoughts influence your emotions and your feelings. So we get to the thoughts, and then you ask yourself, are they true?
Yes.
And so if your mom or your dad or a friend said you aren't who you are, then you need to challenge that.
Yeah.
And then own your truth about who you really are. And it changes how you feel about yourself.
Oh,
so what
good.
Voice are you listening to? Is that the voice, your voice, your true voice? Or is that the voice of somebody else?
These are licensed therapists. This is, seriously, Charlie is a counselor, Therapist Ebony, Therapist Nettie.
Right.
You all know I'm a certified life coach. The Dr. Dawn is my media name, and we'll put that disclaimer up at the end, but y'all already know what that's about. But I wanted to get deeper. Mm-hmm. And when she said, you cannot allow someone else to control how you feel about yourself. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I'm having some aha moments. Let's talk about it. And I want to start with you, totally, Randy, and work our way down. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we can misjudge. I have misjudged a sister based on a negative experience I had, and I'm thinking, oh, well, let me be a little standoffish. Or there have been sisters who have misjudged me, and I'm like, and I try to understand. So when she's not talkative or she's trying to size me up, it's not about me. She's trying to make sure I'm not like the sister who did her wrong.
Right.
Because I'm like, what's the deal? And then you'll talk to them, and I'm like, okay, you had a negative experience, but let me tell you who I am.
Yes.
So that's, I think, sometimes what it can happen. You can't allow that experience to keep you from getting to know other sisters.
Right.
Because you could be missing out on those blessings. Yeah.
Exactly. And I want to speak from the place of misjudging.
Absolutely.
So, I misjudged a young lady. My biggest learning experience from that was learn when someone's having a bad day.
Yes.
Versus, they don't like you or they're doing something negative to you.
Yes.
And I didn't give that sister a chance to show me a better day.
Yes.
Like, I had a very rough experience. The experience was rough. It was real. But I wrote her off quickly. And we tend to do that with each other. And so my advice would be, give people more benefit of doubt. I think as a culture, we need to do that with ourselves. We're quick to cancel people.
Yeah.
From one thing, you have no idea what that person is going through or what they've experienced. Let that be a teaching moment for them. Don't just cancel them or say you're out. And so I learned my lesson that, that young lady is brilliant. She's talented, and I don't know if I'm going to get the chance to work with her now because I wrote her off the first day. But I do realize that I did that. That was a mistake. And going forward, I can try not to do that again.
But you know what I find? Sometimes what God will do is allow you to come into the space with that person.
Yes.
And even though, trust me, they have not forgotten.
Right.
So if you say, you know what, because God spoke to me about somebody and I had to literally call them up. And this was like years ago, but God was telling me, and they said, I wasn't even thinking about it. I said, but I just had to call you because it was on my spirit.
Right.
And I'm telling you, it's just sometimes he will bring you to the place where you're aligned with that person and you can say, forgive me. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't.
Right.
That's true.
Let's talk about in media, Sharon.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Sometimes, and we're all in media here. We all have our own platform, so we can speak on this honestly. There is enough room for all of us at the table.
Oh yes.
And sometimes it can be it can be hurtful. It can be hurtful. You talked about it a little bit, but we just, there's enough room at the media table for all of us because we all have gifts. Yeah. But
what we need to do, especially in media, is make sure we are in those positions where we can make the changes, which is being in management. And that's a problem a lot of us don't do as African American females. Everyone's like, in my business, everyone wants to, I want to be in front of the camera. I want to be the one on TV. I want to be this, that, and the other. Okay, that's great. I love it. I enjoy it. But always when I talk to young people who want to come into this business, especially African American females, you need to be the ones who are making the changes, the producers, the directors, the general managers, going into marketing. Those are the ones who will have the power in this industry to make all the changes and make those doors open and open and open more often. Because the problems we also have is that any station you go into, and there's nothing wrong with this, it just happens, but there are a certain number who look like us.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's quotas, but you're not going to have, if you're going to have 15 people on TV, they're not all going to be African American females. They're not going to be black females. They're not going to be all black males or white or this, that, and the other. They will bring in a certain number of people. And there's still room at the table. But why don't you bring in another table by being behind the scenes and making the changes to make sure more people can get through the doors?
Do you think that's the reason why do you think that's the reason why there's such a rat race when it comes to media and news and TV? And if so, what can we do to like take care of that, like remedy that?
She just said we have to be, part of it is we want to be on the mic.
Yes.
We want to be on the mic and all that stuff. Yeah. And yeah.
And so how do you change that?
Well, I said, you've got to be willing to, if you want to be on the mic, that's great. But you've got to get the skills to be behind the mic as well.
Yeah.
You have to be the ones in charge.
Right.
Those are the producers. They're the ones who select the stories that you see on television.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
You have to be the news directors. They're the ones who do the hiring.
Right.
Yes.
You have to be the vice president of the news organization. You have to be the general manager.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones who are the gatekeepers who open the door and allow people to come in. And they do the hiring.
And I'm going to tell you, when y'all see me on these TV shows all the time, it's some black sisters who are producers who are like, come on, Dr.
Right.
Yes.
But how you treat them, you can't walk in there like a diva and I need mom.
That's right.
Carry your own coat.
Be professional. Please be professional.
Be ready for the segment.
Yes.
Therapist Nettie gave you the notes. Why don't you know what we talking about? Help us, Lord. Charlie, I want you to weigh in on. Come on, y'all.
That's true.
You're right.
See, Dr. Dawn, I thought we were talking about your favorite beverage. No. Be prepared. But that's a media show, and we'll talk about that. But go to Obsessed with Media and hire me, and we'll help you with that consulting. Charlie, I want you to weigh in on this. Sarah Watson says we all should give each other a little grace.
Oh,
God gives it
nice.
to us daily.
Yes.
True.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
Because, like she said, some days it's just not good.
Yes.
I just remember my stylist. Shout out to Candice.
Yeah.
She said one day I didn't like my hair.
Yeah.
And she said, "Do you believe that we have bad days?"
Yeah.
Because I was like, and she said, "Do you believe that we have bad days?" And I was like, because we put certain people on certain platforms, and we think, because they work in media, they shouldn't have a bad day. Because I am her Instagram follower, and I follow her. Yeah. When I meet her, she's gonna be so bubbly, like her picture.
Right. Because she's a therapist every day.
Do you believe that I have a bad day?
Yeah, everybody does.
Everybody does. Yes. And just like we want God to give us grace, she is correct.
That's good.
You should extend the same courtesy.
But is it true that we don't allow everyone to have a bad day?
No, we don't.
And so we automatically judge it. Yes.
And that's tough. That's tough. I think Beyonce said it when she was first coming up, and she said that I think someone close to them passed away, and she said it was so hard she wasn't able to grieve because these people wanted pictures. They wanted her to be Beyonce, and you probably get that all the time when they see, oh my goodness, Sharon, you know, and it's like, can I just at least not have your cheeks must hurt, Sharon. They must hurt because I know you're smiling all the time.
But I have to remind myself that people are still watching.
Right.
There's a little girl who's around the corner who may see me coming up.
That's true.
And she may want to do this someday. So I've got to remind myself somebody did it for me.
That's
so I've got to get out of whatever grief or whatever's in my head for that moment to represent to them what it's like to be in this industry. Give them a hug, sign an autograph, whatever, to make them feel good about themselves.
So true.
Okay, you have to.
Therapist Ebony, I want to pose this question to you because and then Therapist Nettie, I want you to weigh on this because we've got to get deep again, y'all. Let me read Angela's comment. Thank you. Oh, Monique says, yes, Lord. I agree with that. Angela Randolph says, sometimes we are overly critical of ourselves. We need to show compassion to ourselves.
Yes.
Again, that inner voice. Thank you, Angela. And Monique says, yes, Lord, to the media comment. We need to learn to run the show, not always be in front of the camera.
That's where the
good.
money is.
Yes. The money is behind the scenes.
Let me say that because you know that's where the money is. Learn how to produce.
Yes.
Because when you learn how to work a board, I'm getting too deep in the media.
Come on, get it.
You learn how to work the board. That makes you very marketable. Everybody can get in front of a couch and say, "Welcome, thank you for joining us."
Not everybody.
Not
I love you all, but not everybody. That's okay.
But
there are other places for them.
But hold on, that comment.
That's okay.
Everybody has a gift. Some people need to be the producer. Some people need to be the director. Everybody doesn't need to be in the chair. And let me tell you, sometimes it can be some burdens that come with being in that chair.
Right.
Are you ready and are you prepared?
Yes.
It's not easy.
No.
It's not easy, but you have to know who you are and whose you are. Because every role, Terencia, she is the producer here. She's my producer, assistant, everything. She's like, hey, I want to be behind the scenes helping. Everybody has a role.
Right.
Everybody has a role, and you have to understand that it says in the word, some people are gifted with this, with that. Come on, y'all. I got to go to the word. Famous D, the entertainer, says, proud of you, D. God bless you, Famous, and I pray that everything works out with that laptop. He said somebody stole his Mac or something. So, Famous, we hope everything works well. He's a media brother. Angela says, I prefer it behind the scenes. God bless you, Angela. Thank you for that. But Therapist Ebony, let's talk about, and then Therapist Nettie, I want to go to you. Let's talk about what it does mentally and emotionally to a black woman when another black woman does her wrong, betrays her. We've used that word. I'll say betray. Stabs her in the back, hates. It's some deep hurt.
Yeah.
Because a white woman can hurt you. Yeah. But when a sister hurts you, who's got this color skin, it can kind of go a little deeper.
Yeah.
I think sometimes.
Yeah. I think we start to create a narrative. We start to create these beliefs about the people that we interact with and the people that you expect, because you have some commonality with, that they will just inherently have your back, right? And so then once you have certain situations, now you're starting to create stories and narratives so that when you do interact with other people, that hurt is what comes out. And that pain is what colors the way you interact with the people, with other people that you come in contact with. So it's very important that we kind of identify when we start to create these stories, is this the reality? Is this just something that's helping me cope with whatever is going on? And how do I actually heal with whatever situation I find myself in?
Right.
Therapist Nettie?
Well, I agree totally. One of the challenges I believe is, well, first of all, I have this notion that, when we are not, again, going back to self, not good with ourselves, it's very difficult to kind of navigate through anything. But the other part about how does that affect us as women or black women when another black woman betrays us, I think it allows you to, it doesn't allow you, but it makes you sit back and go, what's wrong with me?
Right.
Because my mom's black, my aunt's black, my grandmother's black, And so if you're not careful, you can create that narrative, but at the same time, understanding who you are, whose you are, and not personalize. I tell people all the time, it is not about you. What people say, what people do is about them. It may affect you. But I've been black all my life.
Right.
And I love black women.
Right.
I do too.
And but not everybody can embrace that. I know for a lot of times we don't patronize black businesses because of stereotypes. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm in private practice. I feel that I give the same service that my counterparts would. And so I treat people the way I want to be treated. I don't know that do you see women coming in and feeling damaged because black women damaged them, or just because they feel damaged?
It depends, right? So sometimes it just comes in and you have to kind of dissect where it comes from. Because I work with relationships, we do a lot of work around relationships with family of origin and parents and things like that. But a lot of times it shows up differently, so they don't even know what the root is.
But it's not necessarily
a direct
black.
Yes.
It's more of
these are
the relationships. And if you're black and your family's black, then it's that. But as far as the sisterhood, let's talk about the sisterhood because it's important. And I think a lot of, one of my girlfriends says this many times, is that we don't know how to be friends. Some of us don't know how to be friends.
Yes,
that's
we
very
don't.
true.
And so I think that is where the challenge is, that we should be creating an alliance with one another. We're so much stronger together as opposed to, like crabs in a bucket pulling each other down. There's work to go around. There are opportunities to go around. But we can connect one another with those opportunities.
And help each other
when
come up.
When we connect and network.
Yeah. Even the definition of friendship, everybody has a different definition, right?
That's
and
true.
different expectations. And so there are times when someone is truly trying to show you that they care and they love you, but because it doesn't look the way you would want it to look, you don't even receive it. And so it's very important that you
from them.
Exactly. You cannot. That's it. You cannot expect yourself from them.
That's good.
Yeah.
Let me read this comment. Thank you, Lady Val. Val McCrae, she says, many need to learn the art of appreciating crawl before you walk. That's a good one. J.S. Green says, yes, it's not always personal. We have to get to a place to where we have principle over preference.
Can we talk about the social media aspect?
Yes.
of it?
And that is what
I feel like that has distorted some people's views.
Definitely.
And I literally had this conversation with my husband literally just the other night, and I said, you click a little blue button and all of a sudden we're friends. That's not friendship.
Yeah.
You know very little about me from my social media. You know I have a kid, you know I'm married, you know I like sushi, you know I like to travel. But do you know me? You know how many siblings I have? Do you know my parents? Do you know that I'm adopted? You know, you have to really get to know a person to be their friend, and I think the social media aspect of it is starting to distort people's views.
I want not just on friendship, but even the life of comparison.
Yes.
What my friend has, what's happening over here. You make a judgment based off what you see. Do you know it took me 17 times to get this picture right, the writing? And I don't have this perfect life at all. But you pass judgment because of what you think or what you expect from me.
And then Sharon, we can talk about this in media. Look, you all, people will be like, oh, you doing it. Do you know how many times I had to email these producers before I got in?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? How many relationships I had to build, how many rejections you get.
Right.
It doesn't happen overnight. And people are like, oh, you got it together. Boo, you don't even understand what this thing is.
Right.
You hustling every day. But let's talk about family. It's another sister, maybe you've been done wrong, but how do you deal with it when it's mama or when it's auntie? Because some of you, let's go down the line. When it's mama who is toxic, how do you deal with that?
Yeah. It's extremely difficult because especially I'll speak as Black women, like we're taught like this respect, right? And respecting your elders and what's okay and what's not okay, and even confronting certain behaviors is seen as disrespectful. There's a meme going around that's like it's disrespectful if you don't let your elders disrespect you, right? And that's not true. Like we all deserve respect and or should be able to have boundaries and all of that. Yeah. And so it's a hard place to be in when someone who's cared for you or brought you up or done the best that they could with whatever they had still is being toxic in your life. But you have to learn how to set boundaries with that person.
Yeah,
and I think parent how they were parented.
Right. And I think you have to also just accept the relationship as opposed to trying to change it. Sometimes we spend so much time trying to change that other person instead of accepting who they are and changing yourself so that you're in a better space.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
I just said people parent the way that they were parented. Sometimes parents just don't know.
Correct.
Regardless of, especially, we're not that far removed from old school parenting. Like I never speak what's going on in this house. Like those old school, very toxic behaviors.
But necessary at the time too. Yeah. Because a lot of those behaviors were taught because they wanted to keep you safe.
Right.
So if you're seen and not heard, you're not causing a problem. You're not getting in trouble with the others. So they were necessary at the time, but then we continue to do those things over and over again without recognizing why were they doing that then and do we even need that now?
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe I had the blessing of I didn't have that toxic relationship. I mean, for both of my parents, once again, the only child. So for me, they always would say that as that only child around adults all the time, I grew up a lot faster. And so I was much more mature than everyone around me. So I didn't want to talk to the kids. I wanted to talk to the adults. So but I didn't have the toxicity around me from my parents, but I did see it in others. And a lot of those kids would come and spend time with us because they felt the love, the camaraderie, they got lifted up at our house because that's what my parents did for all the kids. So even though some kids come from those toxic relationships, as adults, if those kids are in your household or in your house at any time, you can show them a different way. So hopefully that will empower them to, of course, still respect their own elders, but show them that there's another way that lifts you up.
Absolutely.
And hopefully they'll be able to spread that along the way as they get older. Yes, exactly.
I want to speak to the parents who are toxic and they don't want to learn. It's some parents out there who know better when they're dealing with their children and raising their children, and they don't want better because they're jealous of their kids. They're jealous that their kids have an opportunity to be better than them. It's some real live trash parents out there. And that's the hardest part. And I think that's where all of us come in, because I see in all of us, when we meet those women, those young girls who are going through that and dealing with those type of parents, we do all we can to help. Because I'm not the therapist. I don't have the answer to that. But I'm telling you, I'm watching it now. I'm watching it. Sleeping in a car with your kid, homeless, and you have the opportunity to do better, and you don't want to because you don't want your kid to do better than you. These are horrible situations. It's like, so I feel like it's our responsibility as girlfriends, to look at the younger generations, and if they don't have those good parents in their lives, do our part to uplift them.
Exactly.
Let's talk about the how-to.
Therapist. This is the deal. A lot of, unfortunately, a lot of women don't know, or young girls don't know that it's toxic. And somehow, for whatever reason, if you're accidentally removed, or you're removed unintentionally, then you recognize, oh wow, this has not been good for me. And it is difficult because this has been your life. But you recognize that everything and everyone around you is toxic. And so what you have to do is, like Ebony was saying, Ebony was saying that, you've got to then go in and work on yourself, and rethink how you feel about yourself, and set boundaries. But that's hard because the boundaries have been blurred. And then once you set them, you have to learn to exercise them. So toxic relationships, you know what?
Need professional help.
Women come in.
Needs professional help.
I mean, that's true.
But they have to
walk.
You can't put a Band-Aid over a
that's
gouge.
trauma.
Like, you can't put you can't put a Band-Aid. You can't pray the hurt away either.
No.
Sometimes you definitely
gotta
need
take action.
professional help.
Absolutely.
To
It's
guide
trauma.
you. You can't fix yourself when you're in the problem. You know, and so this is where you guys come in.
Yeah, absolutely. Therapist Ebony, Therapist Nettie, it's time to break the cycle, but I believe we are all responsible for how we treat each other. We're going to take a 30-second break with another wonderful promo here. But we're going to talk about being aware. How are we hurting another sister and don't even know it unintentionally? Unintentionally, we don't even think it, but we are. We're going to take a 20 to 30-second break. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. Good stuff. All right, we are back. We got like 10 minutes left. Maybe Gary will let me go on for another 30 minutes, but Mike might get fired for that. So we're not going to do that.
And I got to go to bed.
Yeah.
Sharon
is on the air. Hold on. Sharon is
2:30.
What time?
2:30 in the morning I get up.
Yeah, but see, this is sisterhood because sisters don't stay up.
Oh, no. That's not
It's the morning doze.
Yeah.
Morning doze. That's what she's going to be doing.
Morning. This ain't no evening dose. Yeah.
2:30?
But sisters do that for each other. But let's talk about how things we can do unintentionally. We have to be careful. One of the things is gossip. Unintentionally, we're hurting our sister. Even when you're listening to that, you have to kindly cut that off. Sister, I'm sorry about the experience you had with her, but you know, no, I can't. We have to be mindful of what we take in as well as what we put out. But when you're standing listening to that 20-minute conversation, that's not that can be hurting your sister.
And I think sometimes we try to like listen and I want to be able to change your mind and all of that kind of stuff, but you have to let go of that responsibility as well. It's not your job to change someone else's mind about whoever. You can give them your information. You can say, this is my perspective. I haven't dealt with that that person. I enjoy that person, but to let them just keep going, that's how sometimes it gets muddled into like, well, you said, no, I didn't say. I didn't say. But because you sat there for 30 minutes listening, it seemed like you were agreeing, you know? So being mindful that like people aren't going to look at a situation the way you are, especially when they're not there. So when it gets back to them and then when they hear certain things, like how do they take it? Hopefully they know you well enough to be able to trust your word and know who you are, but you have to be very, very careful with those situations.
And there's 3 sides to every story. Your side, her side, and Jesus' side. Who knows the honest to God truth? But that's another show for another time. Charlie,
You know, I always say when people say, girl, let me pour up the tea. Right?
Wow,
I say, tea stains.
Mm.
So if you think about tea stains. So if you're pouring up the tea, whatever you're saying, it can stain.
Right.
It can stain a person's personality, their reputation.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be very careful. And then I always say, they were so comfortable with you to come talk about me.
Yes.
Wow.
So if they're comfortable, just that comfortable, to come to you to talk about me and I'm your friend, that's a problem.
Right.
That's a problem. So I just say, watch how you pour your tea because tea leaves stains.
That's beautiful.
I want to start with you, Sharon, because we had this conversation when I was on the CW. Having a good circle. God is good, and my circle is good.
My circle is amazing.
Yeah. Isn't it good? See, what we put out is what we attract.
Most certainly. It took a long time to get to that point, though. A lot of times. And sometimes you're like, well, I've got this circle, and then something's going on. Something's happening. You don't feel good. You feel there's toxicity in there. And sometimes you got to change your circle. And I had to change my circle.
Are we afraid to do that, though, sometimes? Because we don't want to hurt people's feelings. And
I think as you get older, you're less afraid. I think when you're younger, you are, because if you truly value friendship, then that friendship didn't come like popcorn. It took work, it took effort. You know, you put your time, you invested your time into it, something you can't get back. And so when you're younger, yes, it's kind of harder to let that go. But as you get older and you mind the business that pays you,
and you're mature, it's maturity. Because wisdom has to do with maturity.
You know, I love you, but like Charlie, like Charlie said, I want you to eat, just not at this table.
And that's okay to say that.
And it's okay to say that. I think that's why operating in that honesty, we're too, scared to say, hey, honey, I want you to eat, but just not at this table. I love you, and I want the best for you, but I just...
That doesn't mean it has to be around
me all the time.
And Doc and therapist Nettie, let's talk about. Let me read. Tea stains. Tedessa says, Tedessa, she's a media sister as well. I was on her radio show, Gospel Radio Nation. God bless you, Tedessa. Beautiful. She has a beautiful voice too, y'all. Oh, she was playing some music, and I thought it was. And they said, that's her singing. God bless you, Tedessa. She said the squirrel brings and carries nuts. Be careful what you share. I love those old. I love it. Old
Black History Month.
It is Black History Month. We got 1 hour left in Black History Month. That's good. I love when you all speak back. God bless you. But therapist Nettie, let's talk about the good circle and putting out what we attract. You have to move forward.
You know what? Yes, you do. Absolutely. And I think your sister circle change is like the phases in your life.
Oh, yes.
You know, you were saying it's a little bit more difficult when you're younger. But as you get older, you recognize that, and it doesn't have to be a bad thing.
Yeah, it's
that
not.
the sister circle changes.
Yeah.
It's just that you know that I circle in here for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I need to circle back over here, you know. And I think it's important, and you mentioned you have a really good, healthy sister circle.
Thank you, Jesus.
And I said, because you've chosen good people to be in your circle, as opposed to you trying to fit into somebody else's circle, you know.
And I think we have to understand. Oh, she says, love you. Love you too, sister. Thank you for the squirrel comment to Dessa. But I think we have to understand we have different personalities as well.
Yes.
Everybody's not going to be as talkative and outgoing as some of us.
Yeah.
Some of us are a little more introverted. Understand that sister's personality doesn't make her a bad. Don't take it personal.
Right.
Don't take it personal. We have a few minutes left in the show. Oh, Glorious. Hey, Glorious Gergens, Latoya Moppins. She's a sister in Dallas. And I'm shouting out these sisters. She is the queen of gherkins. Hey, Ma back. She has an amazing pickle business.
Nice.
Check her out, like flavored pickles. She's been on the news and stuff. They come in all like fruit punch pickles and all. I mean, seriously.
Wow.
And she's about to be on the Shark Tank. She's auditioning. She was asked to. So
Good for her.
Congratulations.
Glorious
Do it,
Gherkins,
do it.
Latoya. I'm shouting out all these sisters. God, I'm telling you, God is good, and this show is making a positive impact. You all don't know what you're doing here today, or I hope you do.
Yeah, these ladies are powerful.
But give me final comments, and I want to start with you, therapist Ebony.
I'm just really big on identifying what the issues are, where they're coming from, and then moving in that direction, changing from that space. If you don't even know what the problems are, if you don't even know why you struggle with friendship or why you have a hard time with maintaining these relationships, or why you always find yourself in toxic relationships, because I think that's important to recognize. If you continuously find yourself with toxic women around you, you may be the toxic one. I just gonna leave it there. Gonna leave that there.
Yeah, good. Charlie?
You know, I have a phrase that says, the sister good for the sisterhood.
She's got a phrase for everything. Charlie, really, that's why I'm telling you. I love it. Go ahead, girl.
99. I want that list of
Thank you. She does. That's why I love her. Go ahead. Yeah.
So you want to do good to your sister.
Yeah.
In honor of sisterhood.
Yeah.
Because if you don't want it done to you,
Yes.
why would you do it to your sister?
Right.
Yeah.
So sister good for the sisterhood.
I love it.
How am I going to follow that?
Oh, hey, Gloria says, one day I'll be on your show, and one day I'm going to eat your pickles. Prosperity, honey, prosperity for everybody. God bless you. Yes.
I think we all need to remove the toxicity
Yeah.
Yes.
from our lives, but also some of the toxicity we push out to other people,
Yes.
especially our sisters, because we have so many exterior things that are coming at us all the time.
Yes.
Right.
And only we can understand what they are.
Yeah.
So why not surround yourself with others who know where you're coming from and leave that door open, allow them to walk in
Yes.
Right.
and
That's
give
good.
them a hug, let them know that they're not alone,
Yeah.
and lift each other up. And don't just say it.
Right.
Actually do it.
Yes,
We
do
need to
it.
do it for each other.
That's good.
Yes.
Totally Randy?
Now I have to follow this. I want our sisterhood to forgive each other more. I want us to be more yielding. And if you take your time to give these men 5, 6, 7, 800 chances, give that to your sisters too.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Friendship is the only relationship that's truly, truly free. It's unconditionally free because we're not exchanging things.
Yeah.
We're not exchanging lives. We're exchanging our time and energy with each other, our support and love with each other. And so what I want us to do is forgive each other more. Work hard at your friendships.
Good.
Work at that.
That's good.
That's lovely.
Take your defenses down.
Ah,
Just
that's
take
good.
them down, you know. And one of the things that I've shared, I learned this from Priscilla Shira. She
Yes.
was
Oh, I
talking-
love her.
Isn't she
Tony Evans'
amazing?
daughter. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's awesome.
On one of her books, she wrote about someone else who stated this.
Yeah.
But the greatest gift you can give someone is your time.
Yes.
And so, you know, giving your sister, a sister, your time, if it's just to sit and listen, you don't have to give her any recommendations or any advice, but just be an ear.
Yes.
Be complimentary, you know. Just love.
Yes. I love
Love
that.
each other.
I tell you, I'm going to end it. The Dr. Don has to say, God bless you. Gloria said, I'm going to send you some pickles. DM me, girl. DM me, girl, and we'll get those pickles. Yeah. God bless you, LaToya. But I have to say, this has been, I'm telling you, I was so excited for this show. The Spirit of God is in this place. I want to thank God for bringing all of you into my life. Thank you, Therapist Nettie. Thank you, Totally Randy. Thank you, Sharon Melton. Thank you, Sorrow Charlie. And thank you, Therapist Ebony. I have to tell you, it is Black History Month. It is Promoting Healthy Relationships Month. Let's leave a legacy of love for our sisters. Totally Randy hit it. Let's forgive. We have to forgive each other. It's time for us to help each other more. And you're hurting your sisters because you're hurting. So I have to encourage you to heal. Mm-hmm. But God bless you. Until next time, I love you. Have a good week.
Good.